Dollar sign. Hey guys, Soulless Reviews here, and today I want to talk about Ty Dolla $ign's newest album, Free TC. Ty Dolla $ign seems to follow under the same style as those people who sing/rap, which is very evident in his past mixtapes, EP, and this is actually his first album. Whereas I don't believe Ty Dolla $ign is all that great of an artist. I don't think he's amazing, generation changing, but for me, he's always been a little bit of a guilty pleasure, not exactly completely, but a little bit. I mean, I specifically remember a couple years back, especially with the Weeknd remix of his track Or Nah off the Beach House EP. That track, not a great track, but I mean still, it was extremely catchy, and Ty Dolla $ign just crooning along to that beat, real raunchy, gritty track, and it was entertaining for what it was. But that's really all I could say for Ty Dolla $ign. As much as I don't say I hate him, I find him enjoyable. He's passable, but he's nothing really all that great. He kind of settles somewhere in the middle ground. So, with this album, I kind of want him to prove himself to be doing something substantially more, something great, something to really make his mark in the industry. He has claimed, considering the fact that his brother, Big TC, is in jail and he's dedicating this album to him, that he's going to go extra hard to make this album a good album because the proceeds that go towards people buying this album are actually going to go to getting a kick-ass lawyer to help get his brother out of jail. So that's awfully sweet of Ty Dolla $ign. It's a nice little tidbit. This album is truly dedicated to his brother more so anything else. But considering the fact that Ty Dolla $ign's brother faces life in prison, well, it's going to be a little hard to haggle that down, but let's leave that to the lawyers, shall we? What we're going to be focusing on today is this debut album, so ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I am going to listen to Free TC by Ty Dolla $ign, and then afterwards, I am going to tell you guys just how I feel about it. Wow, I'm still pretty much in shock as to the weak-ass finish this album had. And I'm not just talking about the last track on here, Finale. I'm talking about the last couple of songs on here, to be precise, the last 7 to 8 tracks. What is this shit? I mean, really, that is all I had. That's the only question I had. What is with this shit? Why are we hearing a bunch of club bangers at the last couple tracks of this album? The first half was literally nothing like this, and I'll get into the first half of this later, because they're actually the better part of this album, but it was such a weak, oh my god, some of these songs are terrible. Blase is terrible. Future is incoherent on the hook, Ray Schremer both of them deliver weak-ass verses, and Ty Dolla $ign can't carry along a song that he half-asses himself. Now I know what you're thinking. Ty Dolla $ign is known for making these club bangers, these party anthems. This is what he's known for. This is what he's shown us to be doing on his past projects. Well, then I counter-argument this. Ty Dolla $ign said this album is going to be a step up from his previous work so he can show that it's actually worth paying for and giving him money so he can help his brother out. He was going to prove to us that this is worth buying. And the first, half of this album, in a way, it did prove that, and I will explain why. But the latter half of this album were just party tracks, and like I said, he's known to do this. Why is this a shocker? Well, like I said, Or Nah isn't a terrible track. It's somewhat catchy and a little bit of Ty charm to it. These tracks have no charm. There's nothing interesting about them. They're just really weak and pretty stupid anthems of party songs. Sittin' Pretty is Ty teaming up with his label leader Wiz Khalifa to just talk about ass. They're talking about ass through the whole entire song. That's it. When I See Ya is Ty Dolla $ign teaming up with a relevant artist to retain some substantial fame and talk about fucking a girl when he sees them, better than her man can do it. Cool. Only Right is talking about how Ty Dolla $ign deserves the success, the riches, the bitches, all that stuff. It's only right that he gets that stuff because he's worked for it. Okay, that's cool, but it's still constructed in this party anthem way that makes it a completely uninteresting track, and delivery from YG can't even make it better. And don't even get me started on how lazy of a track Bring It Out of Me was, holy Christ. But now see, I wouldn't be this upset if he didn't have something good going for him. Ty Dolla $ign, believe it or not, actually had something going good for him in the beginning of this album, but squandered it by having these really weak songs the latter half of the album. There are two things that Ty has in his artillery that he shows on this album that help guide it along and push it to be a decent album. The first of that is instrumentation. Especially during the beginning half of this album, there is some really good instrumentation. I'm not just talking simplistic piano keys, but there is some saxophone, trumpets, guitars, electric guitars. Both Solid and Horses in the Stable specialize about Ty Dolla $ign mellowing with the guitar strings and actually giving some decent crooning, regardless of the topic. We're not talking about topics. Just the way he portrayed himself with the guitar instrumentation was pretty damn good, and it showed that he actually cared about the music. Yes, there were times when his crooning was a little but it didn't really matter all that much because the guitar strings were what helped guide him along, and I appreciated the effort that he was putting in. And I mean, what I really liked about the song Credit, like I mentioned before in the instrumentation, it's the fact that in the outro it has a really nice, elegant piano key outro, and even surprises you even more by taking a step further by adding a saxophone to the end of it. It's like some really good instrumentation that he's paying attention to. And then the second thing that he has in his artillery is the overall concept of the album. This album, as you already probably, plainly could have seen, it's about his brother in jail. And what he does to further escalate that is the fact that there are periods throughout this album where he has skits where he's talking to his brother over the phone, where how you get prison time calls. It's actually really emotional, and I commend him on doing that. There are some comedic times, like when his brother does the French Montana ad-lib when Ty Dolla $ign is right next to French Montana and they're talking on the phone to him, but there's also some really deep emotional times, like when his brother is saying that he doesn't get any food, he gets barely any water, the only thing he really gets is exercise when he was moved to more a solitary room. Or like when he describes how his cell got ransacked, and he did all the things that he had, like some drugs he had stowed away, all the things that he had were just kind of taken from him, and then he was his cell was completely ransacked. There are times when you actually feel for his brother, and what this album aids in doing is it helps you build a relationship from Ty's point of view to his brother. Obviously, his brother isn't the best guy. He obviously has drug issues. He's relatable to Ty in his love for bitches. He's obviously kind of a gangster character, but you can still feel for him in the fact that he's a brother to Ty Dolla $ign, and by looking in Ty Dolla $ign's point of view over the phone, you can feel for him. It's like if your brother or sister was locked up in jail, you would feel the same way Ty does, and he does a good job making you think that way, and that's a really good high point for this album. And what more could you ask than Ty Dolla $ign letting his brother TC have a verse on the track Miracle? That was great. Now, the first time I heard it, I was a little sketchy about it because it was kind of like a crappier recording, but that was the point. His brother is recording behind prison bars. He doesn't have good quality sound. It was great. I really enjoyed the fact that not only were there skits, but he also let his brother have a hand in it, showing that his brother cares about this album working as much as Ty Dolla $ign does. So what really saved the album was the instrumentation, and also the inclusion of his brother having a decent hand in this as much as he could behind bars. That's what really helped push this album as far as it landed. But, as I have mentioned, the latter half of this album is really weak. And I get this. Okay, guys, you're the demographic of Ty Dolla $ign. What do you want to do? Well, I'm going to put I'm going to add a lot of emotional, instrumentally keen music in the beginning. But there's a huge demographic of my fans that want to hear party music. So what do? You add party music to the album. That's not the problem that I have. I kind of understand where he was coming from with the whole demographic issue. But the thing for me is, if you're gonna have to make party tracks to gain some interest for your album, why not make them good party tracks? To me, it seriously sounded like Ty put all his effort into these first couple tracks, like the first half, and then he's like, ugh, alright, now I gotta put together some party songs to open up to that fan base that likes hearing my party songs, so, let's just do Blase, and let's get Fetty Wap, and Ray Shremmerd, and let's just do all that shit. He really sounded like he half-assed these party songs just to reach out to the demographic that likes his party songs. Which I can respect, but I would have respected it, and this album would have been way much better if he ditched that whole idea aside and went for complete cohesion throughout this whole project instead of compromising it for that side of people that enjoy that kind of music from him. They can go get that from Ray Shremmerd or Juicy J. Why don't you stick to making this conceptual music instead of doing that? I mean, leave it to other people to cover that ground. Okay, but besides that and low points, I can't say that he came through with some great subject matter on all these tracks. Some of the beginning tracks, while having some good instrumentation, did have, not all that great subject matter. Solid, he's just describing him being a solid guy with his bitches, monies, and weed, all being in order. And on Straight Up, he's talking about how he isn't going to front with a girl, he's going to straight up tell her what he wants the bitch to do. Or on Saved, he doesn't want the bitch to come to him to save her. He doesn't want a girl to rely on him for money and necessities. She needs to learn to live on her own. You can see where Ty Dolla $ign, he keeps talking about bitches, and that is a problem because the thematically doesn't differ all that much on this album. I mean, it really only worked for me on Horses in the Stable, which was really only for comedic relief, because I was just picturing Ty having a bunch of bitches in a stable. He was comparing the bitches to horses, and geez, Ty, what are you doing? You can see where, yes, it was a little groan-worthy that he kept talking about the same topic at the beginning of this album while having some inclusion of his brother in jail, but it became more annoying when he completely ditched any idea of substance and went for just straight-up party bangers at the latter half. And I guess I just want to mention Guard Down real quick. That song, it was pretty bad. It really looked like it was gearing up to be a good one. I mean, Kanye West on that, I mean, how could you go wrong? Well, the production sounded pretty bad. It sounded like a transformer malfunctioning. For some reason, they put special emphasis on the tweeter, like a really upbeat tweeting noise in the track, and that sounded terrible. I thought it was a good instrumental choice, but in reality, it sounded bad. It was really ear-piercing. And Kanye just has these small little parts at the end of the track where he's just talking in the background. Really unnecessary. He probably spent more money getting that Kanye verse than it was to get TC out of jail. And then the Diddy monologue. What's with these Diddy monologues? I mean, Game had one, Meek Mill had one. Why are we having Diddy monologues? Is he that special of a person? I mean, he really doesn't seem like he's that intelligent of a human being. Why are we doing this? While it had a nice concept about staying down for your brothers and sisters and close friends, never letting your guard down for them, and always having your guard up during the hard times, it still wasn't able to execute sonically, and Ty Dolla $ign himself couldn't even carry it. Because like I said, he really didn't put forth the effort, especially on that track. He was kind of relying on the sound of it and the guest features to help him out, and when they didn't deliver, the overall song just wasn't a good track. So there were times when Ty pulled through with thematically and sonically good music, like the opener track LA with Kendrick, and Miracle where he's rapping with his brother behind bars. That was a well-executed track. And even the finale wasn't horrible, but that was mostly because of the sounds it had. It wasn't that Ty Dolla $ign was singing or rapping all that much. But the problem comes when Ty Dolla $ign can't seem to talk about much other than bitches on this album. The high points of this album are when he's putting special attention on the instrumentation on these tracks, and he's making sure to incorporate to really drive that home feeling of TC being in jail into our brain. It really works. But then it balances out equally when he's making those shitty club bangers the latter half of this album, and his subject matter throughout this album at points isn't all that great either. If you're a Ty Dolla $ign fan, this might be something to check out, because there's some decent stuff on here. It's just a matter of the stuff where he actually cares about what he's doing. But if you're just a casual music listener, then I would say, you know what, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to tell you to listen to this album, but once you get down to Guard Down, you can listen to Guard Down just to hear how, poorly it was executed, but then skip over everything until the finale. Because all those other tracks, Sittin' Pretty through Actress were pretty bad songs, and they just completely skip over them. They didn't need to be heard. And then that's it. That's really the album. So I didn't really enjoy this album all that much. I thought it was decent, but it could have been a hell of a lot better. If you liked it, feel free to tell me. Open opinion, and yeah, that is all I got for you guys. If you would like to like or subscribe, that'd be awesome. I really appreciate it, and till next time, Soulless Reviews.